Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is lesson 235. Today we're going to look at the difference between epidemic, pandemic, and endemic. Yeah, I often have questions come up about this. When any one of the other words come up, sometimes somebody will ask, what's the difference between this and one of the other ones? So let's take a look at the note first. Let's take a look at epidemic. Epidemic has two uses. So first, epidemic can refer to a contagious, infectious, or viral illness that can be spread over a specific area. Now, the key part here with epidemic is a specific area. Now, it could be a single country, or if it is more than one country, it's probably a country that's just bordering the other country, so it's still in the same area. The number of cases are much higher than usual, so that's what makes it an epidemic. All right, now epidemic can also have a second use. A sudden increase, especially in negative or unpleasant events that affect large amounts of people. So an epidemic could be something that doesn't have anything to do with a disease, or not specifically a disease. It just has to be a negative event that has suddenly increased on a much larger scale than usual. Okay, let's take a look at pandemic. Pandemic refers to a disease that spreads, but it is not limited to one area or region and can affect millions of people all over the globe or all over the world. So pandemic could be much more widespread. It could go throughout many continents. Luckily, we haven't had as many of them in recent years. Okay, let's look at endemic. Now, endemic looks similar to the word epidemic, but endemic is not specifically larger than usual or smaller than usual. Endemic, this refers to a disease that always exists in a particular region. So it's just common there all the time. They never seem to be able to get rid of it. Maybe it's been there for many decades, and they never seem to be able to wipe it out. But it's not specifically, it had no specific increase recently. So endemic means that it's just always there. It's a problem that continues to exist over long periods of time in a particular place. All right, so let's look at the examples. All right, example number one. There was a serious flu epidemic that spread across the U.S. this past winter. Yeah, luckily flu is not that big, but it was a much more serious flu season than usual. People caught it more. I think maybe even more people might have died from it. You don't usually have that many people dying from the flu. So it was a much larger increase than usual. But again, it was probably mostly around the U.S., so it was kind of a limited area. So here it's an epidemic. And this one is related to a disease. All right, let's look at number two. In recent decades, the U.S. has suffered a serious obesity epidemic. All right, now, this is a good example because it's not specifically a disease, but it is a problem. Being fat, being too overweight, that could also be an epidemic. It's one of these unpleasant events or some unpleasant occurrence that's negative. So we can say that. Number three, in recent years, that there has been a large rape epidemic in Europe. Sweden is now the rape capital of the world. So again, has absolutely nothing to do with an illness or sickness. It could be just some unpleasant events, but the number of cases or the number of events could have had a sudden increases. Okay. So let's look at number four. The Spanish flu was a pandemic. Now this is a pandemic that caused the deaths of almost 22 million people that started in 1918. Now this spread all over the world. We have had other pandemics. I think there was a TB, a tuberculosis pandemic in the past too. And if you go back many centuries, the Black Plague was a pandemic too that spread all throughout Europe and spread much further. So if it's closer to being worldwide, over a much wider area, then it's a pandemic. Okay, good. And let's look at the last one here. Malaria is endemic throughout many countries in Africa. Yeah, so there's some countries in Africa that are always dealing with malaria. It's not like you're specifically saying that this year is worse than last year or there's no sudden increase. This is just a problem that always exists, and they have difficulty wiping it out or getting rid of it completely. So it's endemic to a particular area. Okay, well, I hope it's clear. I hope we got it. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.